Here we are, you finally found it. The definitive guide to slimming and transforming your body. First, most people will tell you this is crazy, the dumbest thing in the world. You've heard it all before, maybe you've even thought it yourself. Everything goes south once you hit 40, just accept it. Slimming gets harder with age, just accept it. You have to work out double or triple the time as you get older, just accept it. And what about these hormones and slimming? I guess I'll just have to accept it. While all of this is true to a certain extent, I believe that you can transform your body, how you feel, your energy, and your ultimate happiness for the better. What do you think you need to do to slim down and keep it that way? You've already tried sacrifice and suffering. You know that it doesn't work long term. And you're not alone. Most women have tried a combination of A, starving themselves, or some variation of that, or B, killing themselves at the gym, or some variation of that. Now let me give you an example. Have you tried starving yourself? Now let's get this straight right off the bat right now. Whether you choose some variation of meal replacement shake, a diet pill, a fat blocker, a carb blocker, calorie counting, point systems, whatever it is, you are starving your body. Fact. You're either starving yourself of energy, starving yourself of nutrients, or a combination of the two. When the body's starved of something, it will do everything in its power to get it back. This can be in the form of cravings, chronic overeating, more on this in a moment. Have you tried killing yourself at the gym? Well, more is not better. There, I said it. When I say more, I mean more long duration, arduous exercise, like pounding away on the treadmill for an hour or so, or an epic session that involves you doing a circuit of the entire gym using every piece of equipment in there and taking 2 hours to do it. What I don't mean is undertaking more activity during the day, like walking during your lunch break in the sun, or taking in the scenery, or taking the stairs instead of the lift. I call these things nutritional movements, so please keep doing those. The irony is that even though most women fail to lose weight and keep it off using this approach, they still think that deprivation and suffering is the key to being slim. They rationalize that previous failures were due to insufficient commitment or willpower. But here's the truth. The more unpleasant you make losing weight, the less likely you will succeed. So here's number one in the most common overlooked problems in your ability to lose weight. Have your past dieting attempts shaped your biology? All the starvation dieting, pill popping, over-exercising and fasting you've done has caused a situation in your body known as metabolic damage. Now, metabolic damage is the physiological result of neglecting to fulfill the basic metabolic needs like sufficient hydration, calorie or carb intake, rest, etc., or things like that. And it causes biochemical changes within your body. Due to the lack of nutrition, the body enters a state of chronic stress and functions suboptimally, creating a breeding ground in your body for chronic health conditions. Calorie and carbohydrate restrictive diets are the primary cause of metabolic damage because they act by slowing down the functioning of your system, your metabolism, as well as creating nutrient deficiencies as well. Once the calorie restrictive diet can no longer be consumed and you go back to your normal eating habits or your normal way of life, your body literally hoards calories, carbohydrates, nutrients and water in an attempt to return to something called homeostasis, which is your normal body's functioning balance. Weight gain is the result of putting food and fluid into a nutrient deficient, calorie and carbohydrate and water deprived body. The chances are that you gained all of your weight back plus an additional 10%. So even though you've dieted at various points throughout your life so far, you're heavier now than you ever have been. So what the hell is going on? The primary reason you found it so difficult to slim down and keep it off once you get back to your normal eating or calorie sufficient diet following a diet or restriction is because initially it takes a tremendous amount of energy to repair the damage done to your system. Toxin buildup, acid buildup, nutrient deficiencies, organ damage, anemia, hormonal imbalances, bone demineralization, blood sugar instability, muscle wastage, and low blood volume all require enormous amounts of carbohydrate energy and nutrients to be eliminated or restored back to normal. The body works in order of priority, meaning that the most damaged and toxic areas are addressed first after a diet. Excess body fat removal usually takes a back seat because it's just not life-threatening. So in summary then, at this point right here, your body is not interested in slimming. Its primary focus is repair from years of dieting attempts and metabolic damage. So on to number 2 then, in the most commonly overlooked problems in your ability to lose weight, and that is years of stored toxins in your fat cells. But I eat relatively clean, I hear you say. And you might well be, but toxins are literally everywhere. They're stored in your fat cells along with your fat, and they play havoc with your metabolism. Years worth. Here's some toxins that may have built up over the years. You may have been exposed to some or even all of these on a daily basis. There's food additives, food preservatives, phthalates found in your shower gels. There's PCBs from things like farm-raised fish, bisphenol A found in your plastics, herbicides and pesticides from your non-organic foods, mercury and heavy metals found in fish. Tuna, for example, is very high in mercury. You have food flavorings, food colorings, tap water, medication, car exhaust gases. You have polybrominated diphenyl ethers, which are found in household flame retardants. You have smoke, tobacco. You have even things found in incense. The list goes on and on. And here's some real proof that this is real. A study was conducted to look at the umbilical cord of babies immediately after birth for 413 different environmental pollutants and toxins. A total of 287 toxins and pollutants, around 200 on average, were found in the blood of babies taking their first breath. This is real. Your fat cells are protecting you, but that does nothing for your waistline, legs, or bum. One of the roles of fat is to act as a buffer for these toxins so that it keeps them away from your organs. Fat-soluble toxins are normally routed to the liver and converted to a water-soluble form so that they can be excreted via the channels of elimination more easily. But when the toxins are not effectively processed by the liver and excreted, which is often the case every day, since a great many people do not eat the right kinds of food or sufficient nutrients to provide their liver with everything it needs for the detoxifying process, the body does what it can to keep them from circulating in the bloodstream. It stores them in your fat cells. Generally speaking, the majority of these toxins from an overburdened liver and up in the fat cells that literally become toxic dumps. And here's the real kicker. When a fat cell maxes out its ability to increase in size, additional fat cells are created to form new fat storage sites. As that occurs, some toxins may re-enter the bloodstream as they seek another place to reside. So essentially what we have is a body that is taking in toxins on a daily basis, storing the toxins away from your organs as a safety measure, unable to detoxify normally due to the standard Western diet that's nutrient deficient, creating new fat cells to store more toxins, and the body is reluctant to lose weight because that would mean dumping even more toxins into an already toxic body. Now, this is a vicious cycle and one that you can get out of to be in the best shape of your life, even if you think you're a lost cause or you've tried everything. And one last thing on this, whenever weight is lost, fat cells release whatever is stored in there, including toxins accumulated in that fat. A number of studies have discovered that pesticides and other toxins released from fat stores in adults do damage the mitochondria of your cells, which slow the metabolism and decrease fat burning, which is why you need to look after your thyroid at the same time. Right, on to the final point, and in the most common overlooked problems in your ability to lose weight. And it's by no means the last one ever. However, I'm going to cut it at 3 main points from my experience. Cakes, chocolate, biscuits and crisps. You can't get rid of the cravings and you're forever eating. Now remember this, nutrient deficiency leads to chronic overeating. Write that down, pin it to the fridge, get it tattooed on your forehead, whatever you need to do. Why is it that people overeat? Many of us might be inclined to think that it's just a willpower problem and that people who overeat simply lack the discipline to stop themselves. But actually, that's not usually the case. It's not you. So if you've been told that it's you in the past and ended up hating the person that told you, then I'm in your corner. Often the problem has more to do with what we eat, not how much we eat. Here's the truth about hunger. When our bodies need to be nourished, our brains interpret that as hunger. Of course, this happens when we haven't had enough food, but it also happens when we haven't consumed the nutrients we need. If our diets are lacking in nutrition, our brains translate that into a sensation of hunger. This is the only way our brains know to inspire us to correct our nutritional deficiency. So it's possible to eat what feels like a full meal and still feel hungry. Processed foods are high in calories but low in nutrient density. Eating those foods does not nourish us but leave us feeling hungry soon again afterwards. As a result, we need to eat more of the foods that begin to help us feel full. So we consume what might seem like quite a large amount of food and still not feel especially full. So when we overeat, usually the problem is not that we're eating too much food per se, it's that we're not eating the right foods. It's not your willpower. It's easy to see, therefore, how misguided it is to assume that those who overeat have a problem with willpower. When we eat empty calories, our nutrient deficient food-like products, and deprive our bodies of nutrition. Our brains tell us we're hungry, so we eat more. There is nothing weak or wrong about overeating. In many cases, it is largely a response to a physiological process. Okay, so this video has been longer than normal, but I really hope that it all makes sense. I also hope that you've got a lot out of today's video. So what in your quest for a slim body have you been putting off for some day? Why don't you share that in the comments and tell me why you're putting it off? Is there a big problem you're facing right now? Is there a question that you need answered? Please put it in the comments below, and the more specific you are, the better. Additionally, if you know someone else who will benefit from this, then why not pass it on? Now, depending on where you're watching this video or listening to this podcast, depends on where you can see a link for me to invite you forward to join me on my next 28-day body challenge that run every single month. And you can join me and the hundreds of men and women who are using my non-typical approach to long-term weight loss and health, whilst also repairing their bodies. The value I give during this 28 days is phenomenal. So if you're watching on Facebook, then there's a sign up link above this video. If you're watching on my blog, then you'll notice a small banner to the right of this video in the sidebar. If you're watching on YouTube, then a small pop-out link will appear just here right now for you to join me. And finally, if you're listening on iTunes, then the link to join me in the show is in the show notes with the podcast. What also you can do is head over to tbt90.com/28-day challenge. Now it's time to take charge and experience the TBT effect. I'll see you in another video very soon or another podcast, but please post your or post anything which is holding you back from achieving your goals right now, and I will endeavour to get those answered for you very soon. I'll see you again very soon.